Greetings everyone, Mr. Rogues here again with yet another reaction video. I know you love my reaction videos so much, very creative content. Today I'm gonna react to a YouTube video called Top 10 Worst Batman Villains of All Time by Creeps Plays, which is a secondary channel by Creeps McPasta, who is, of course, as you can tell by his name, a creepypasta tuber. He reads creepypastas. This is actually an old video, several years old, and I watched it back when it was uploaded originally, so I have seen it before. But as I said, it was many years ago and I don't really remember anything about it, who was on the list, except for the fact that I was quite upset about some of the inclusions on this list. So that's why I thought it could be fun to have a revisit this video and react to it. Why not? Because I'm lazy. Anyway, here we go.
Batman's villain roster is one of the most notorious of all time, but there's been decades for the DC crew to refine the list. However, considering Batman's been around since May 1939, happy anniversary by the way, living through many ages of comics including the notorious Silver Age, there have been a vast number of villains lost in time, and for good reason. But I'm here to dig up these forgotten gems of cringe for my top 10 dumbest Batman villains.
He's clearly a better editor than I am, but everyone is. 10, okay, who is the Ratcatcher?
The genius influence behind this villain's name was that he was a rat catcher for Gotham City.
Yeah,
after losing his job, he started to notice he had a strange ability to talk and control rats. He then used this power to stage various crimes in Gotham to get everything he wanted. He even gathered enough rats to create a large army to threaten against Gotham. Rats, however, are more of a mild inconvenience than an actual threat.
I don't know about that, bruh. What if it's a swarm of rats, which it is?
Humpty Dumpty.
Number 9, Humpty Dumpty.
Already looking like a giant egg, Humpty Dumpty was obsessed with the idea of taking things apart and then putting them back together. So much that he pulled apart his domestically violent grandmother only to sew her back together.
But that's disturbing.
His knowledge of fixing things came from library books, and he was tracked by Batgirl by his overdue book withdrawals. His final crime was trying to adjust the gears in a clock tower. This caused one of the hands to fly.
I mean, he was just a character in that miniseries, Arkham Asylum Living Hell. He's not really meant to be a big threat.
Fly off and cause a chain reaction, killing dozens of people. If this wasn't weird enough, he also spoke in rhyme. Now, if you think this is the creation from the cheesy Silver Age of comics, you'd be wrong. He debuted in 2003.
Yeah, that's horrible, isn't it? Number 8, who is number
Calendar
8?
Man. Put up your jukes, it's Boxing Day.
Oh, I hate this people always bullying Calendar Man. Why? Let's hear what he has to say. What's so darn silly about Calendar Man?
And while that has literally nothing to do with actual boxing, Calendar Man will use that awful pun anyway. Now,
will he? I don't know.
Now, originally I had Killer Moth on this list, but in recent iterations, Killer Moth has been useful for a corny cartoon villain in various animated series. However, Calendar Man has been irredeemable. This criminal will only perform acts of crimes on important dates. You got it, Mother's Day, Christmas, New Year's, but he also goes into some historical days as well.
What's wrong with that? What is wrong with that? You have a guy with riddles and blibbity blibbity. What's wrong with this?
His costume is a red outfit draped with sheets of paper
Okay, the old costume is not the greatest, sure, but whatever. He doesn't even wear it anymore.
There's between 1 and 31 on them. These correspond with the amount of days in a month. The only tolerable way he's been used in recent date is his small cameo in the Arkham City game, in which you can visit him in a small cell and he will say a quip if you visit him on certain dates.
7.
King of Cats.
King of Cats.
This guy's
guy
title
again.
doesn't
Well,
seem
okay.
so bad.
Sure, I'll give him this one. I don't really care about this character whatsoever. Didn't he just appear in one story in like the 50s or something? Why is everyone so hung up on the King of Cats when he's barely appeared in anything? Why do people even care? How do these people even know about this character?
Bad. Who wouldn't want to be King of Cats? But he really doesn't have anything to do with having a lot of cats or ruling them. No, the King of Cats is simply Catwoman's brother. He becomes a villain after learning about his sister, Selina's life of crime. He's not even original about his name either. He turns himself in after Selina pleads for him to do so. And luckily, unlike many other villains, he sticks to his word after he's paroled. Thank goodness the creators let him slip away with what little pride he had, rather than drag him out with a bad premise he had, or give him an unnecessary tragic ending.
Number 6. Who's gonna be number 6? Egghead.
This crime boss is
always
pretty
Egghead.
lame as well. He simply...
Egghead is always on these lists. Always on these lists. He can never escape these lists. People really hate Egghead.
loves eggs. That's it.
Yeah.
Egghead was
Yeah, that's not the first time we've heard that joke.
created for the 1960 Adam West Batman series, and he's just a guy who likes eggs.
Well,
I mean,
no.
really likes them.
Yeah, I mean, you're exaggerating a little bit. You're making it sound like like he wants to marry an egg. Come on, he's a criminal mastermind. Why is everyone selling Egghead so short?
Of course, his head is
You figured out Batman's true identity, for Christ's sake.
shaved, and his head is roughly the same shape of an egg, so they call him Egghead. You get it?
Yeah, and the Joker looks like a clown, and he tells jokes, so they call him Joker. Get it? See, it can work for anyone.
Yeah.
Well, that's really not being fair. Really not being fair. I wonder if this guy is even Creeps McPasta, if he's even seen the 60s TV show and the Egghead episodes. I really wonder that. I'm kinda guessing that he hasn't.
Sweet Tooth.
Sweet
A
Tooth
lot of
again.
people know Sweet Tooth from the popular musical parody Holy Musical Batman. And you would have thought that they made him up to be a parody of the Joker. But no, he actually exists as a castaway one-off villain. And he actually used
Yeah, in the 70s cartoon. Have you seen the 70s cartoon? Have you really seen the 70s filmation cartoon?
candy as his signature. He tried to change Gotham's water
I mean, I'm sorry, Creeps. You're good at narrating creepypastas. Definitely are, and you have a nice voice. But it kind of feels like you've just looked at some list or some Wikipedia or whatever and just grabbed whatever characters seem the most lame judging by their descriptions and names. Kind of seems like that. Have you really seen the Sweet Tooth episode from the Filmation cartoon? Not even I have seen it. Not even I have seen it, and I'm Mr. Rogues. So I'm not gonna judge Sweet Tooth because I haven't even seen this episode. I really should see that, by the way.
supply into nothing but chocolate syrup if he didn't receive $5 million, which doubles to 10 after Robin makes a joke about his weight. Shame on you, Robin. Don't you know that's fat shaming?
Number four.
Magpie. This woman's
Magpie. Oh, come on, Magpie. At number 4. Magpie is the 4th worst Batman villain of all time. Really? Isn't that being a bit dramatic? Come on. Come on. Okay, I can accept putting her at like number 10 or something. I mean, I like the character, but I can definitely see why some people don't. But come on, putting her at number 4 of the worst Batman villains of all time?
motive is that she was obsessed with shiny objects growing up.
Yeah.
She
Yeah,
worked
so-
as the curator of the
cool.
Gotham City Museum of Antiques to be surrounded by the valuables she loved. Upon realizing that she could never own everything shiny, her mind snapped and she became a thief. She would set booby traps for anyone who would try and stop her from completing her shiny collection.
Well, no, not really. That's not quite accurate. She stole shiny objects and replaced them with booby traps just to kill the people for fun because she's kinda insane. So you're kinda getting your facts wrong here, boy! Number 3 is
Kite Man.
Kite
Because
Man,
being
okay.
obsessed with eggs wasn't
Now he deserves it, freaking Kite
the most
Man.
ridiculous thing to come up with for a supervillain motif. No, try Kite Man, who had an arsenal of kites to use at his disposal.
Yeah, that is stupid.
He would ride around on a large kite and keep so many kites on him it would overwhelm his enemies. It seems the writers had a bit of remorse as he is one of the few criminals, including Sewer King, Mirage and Rawson, beaten to death by the Intergang boss Bruno Mannheim when the villains refused to immediately submit to Intergang. Intergang proceed to wipe Kite Man's name for the public records as if he had never existed. How convenient.
Well, you can definitely tell that this video is a little bit old because, wow. That sure isn't true anymore. That sure isn't true anymore. Kite Man, the big breakout star. Everybody loves Kite Man now. Number 2,
Crazy Quilt.
Crazy Quilt.
At first glance, this villain is seen
Yeah, you know, I can accept that. I'm definitely not gonna sit here and deny how comically bad Crazy Quilt is. I mean, that's why I like the character, because he is so comically bad. He's a character that's so bad he's good.
as a master painter, but he leads a double life of crime. He leaves clues inside of his paintings to show what kind of crime he had committed. One day, one of his henchmen
He did?
double crosses him and leaves him blinded from a
I don't remember. Is he talking about his origin?
gunshot wound. He later resurfaces after he volunteers for an experiment to try help him see again. Of course, the experiment goes wrong and he is left only able to see really bright colours driving him insane. Now fashioned with a helmet that can emit bright colour lasers so he can see, he comes up with the name Crazy Quilt. For reasons. Great motivation.
I don't quite remember things exactly the way he said them. Again, this guy probably hasn't actually read these comics. I made a top 5 best Crazy Quilt stories video. That's how insane I am. So you know I've read the Crazy Quilt stories. Honorable mention. Honorable mention. Let's see who's an honorable
Cluemaster.
mention.
Cluemaster is pretty much a knockoff version of the Riddler.
Yeah, Cluemaster. I mean, he is a poor man's Riddler. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna say about? Like, you can't really deny that.
He was a failed game show host who lost his job and became a criminal, seemingly the second choice in anyone's profession in Gotham, apparently. And every crime scene he would leave behind,
Okay.
on purpose, of course.
I do actually know that there are a lot of people who actually like Cluemaster because of this. The whole connection to Stephanie Brown.
A clue as to where he was or who he was. A clue to the Batman. The Bat. It's
Yeah,
just
but I mean, that's exactly what the Riddler does. Are you also gonna put the Riddler as an honorable mention then? Because it's the same thing. If you're gonna say that that's why he's bad, then you obviously need to, you know, call out the Riddler too, otherwise you're being a hypocrite.
to put this in perspective. He left a clue behind for the Batman, the guy who can figure out crimes when you don't leave clues behind.
Yeah, that's what the Riddler does too. Is he also here then?
Because that's a smart way to criminal.
I mean, you're just being snarky, dude.
Well done, Clue Master. You get an A for effort. No, you don't even get an A for effort. That is awful. You should give up.
So funny. So funny. Number 1!
Ten-Eyed Man.
Ten-Eyed Man, okay. I
Ten-Eyed Man
wanted to build up some suspense there, but he said the name so quickly I didn't.
was originally a security guard and war veteran when
Ten-Eyed Man, the worst Batman villain of all time. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I can kind of see it, but of course they also recently reinvented Ten-Eyed Man in some Arkham City comic. Of course, this video was long before that. I doubt that comic would have saved him from being included on this list anyway.
One day, a warehouse explosion leaves him blinded. He finds an underground doctor that is able to give him new eyes, but instead of reattaching them to his eye sockets, the doctor attaches them to his fingers. Now blaming Batman for his incident in the first place, he goes to seek revenge in the Dark Knight, with very sensitive fingertips. This man, with eyes for fingers, challenging the Batman. Yes. Wunderbar. Brilliant. These guys, oh my gosh, original the characters, do not steal. These guys are genius. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this week's list, and if you did, leave a like. And if you want to see more of these, subscribe. I try to do these every week.
Well, there you have it. Creeps Plays, Creeps McPasta's Top 10 Worst Batman Villains of All Time. An old video that I watched back when it was new, and I thought it would be fun to revisit it now and remind myself who was actually on this list. It wasn't quite that horrible. I mean, you didn't have the Mad Hatter on the list, and the Riddler wasn't there, no Penguin. Because I know I've seen some lists somewhere where those, well, at least Mad Hatter and the Penguin were on it. I think Riddler too on some list. Whew, at least you didn't have that here, though. You did have some terrible picks like the Ratcatcher. I mean, really? Ratcatcher? I mean, a swarm of rats is pretty terrifying. I don't know why you're laughing at that. And Humpty Dumpty feels pretty unfair. He's basically just a one-shot character from a miniseries, and he's supposed to be the way he is. He's written that way. He's supposed to be innocent and dumb. Oh yeah, you put Calendar Man on this list. I forgot that. I guess I tried to repress that from my memory. Oh, Calendar Man, yeah. I really don't like that. That was very unfair. Again, I just don't get it. Why would you dislike Calendar Man so much? How is his gimmick goofier than all of these other, the big Batman villains and Magpie? That's really unfair too. And at number 4, okay. Well, let me know down in the comments what you think about this list. And let me know which 10 Batman villains you think are the worst of all time. Yeah, and as always, Arkham Asylum awaits you in the next video.